Hi, and welcome to my channel. I'm Bunny or Gun Bunny, and today we're talking about corsets and how they have to do with guns. Yes, you heard me. I know this channel's always absurd, but it's gonna get weirder. So, this is gonna be kind of a rant, so if you don't, just watch it anyway. Leave me alone. Anyway, so I'm gonna be talking about a video that was kind of inspired. Like, I've been really wanting to do something along these lines for a long time. Just to give you a little bit of like behind the scenes into my brain process. I love historical clothing, and this is something I've been a huge nerd about forever. And I have wanted to bring this into this channel more. If you didn't see at CQB, I did my Victorian or 1880s cowgirl cosplay. And my corset and my full historically accurate garb. And so I was thinking, I was like, yeah, I did a very physical competition in the heat, with included a very physical competition in the desert, which included running and shooting. And I did it in a steel bone full corset from the styled, in the pattern of the 1880s. And guess what? I didn't die. So if you have any corset hatred, get ready to shut up. Don't know what that's mean. But I'm gonna teach a little bit about corsets and why I did that run the way I did, and how I was fine, and how actually I was more comfortable than the days I wore less clothes and was in my bra. And also, please watch this whole video before taking any information from it, because you could be doing something dumb and dangerous. First thing, before I go to this, that is really important. I am experienced. I have worn corsets and stays forever. I know how to wear them correctly and stuff about them, and also I know a lot about the history and the anatomy and how these are constructed, because I also sew and I've made tons of corsets. So that's an important thing. My first thing is, not all corsets are created equal. A lot of people who are very poor corsets are like, yes, corsets are safe, and then they don't have the addendum, which is not all corsets are safe. Historically, corsets are safer than the more modern day ones you can get on Amazon, which is why I like this Victorian pattern one. Not to say that there aren't modern corsets that are safe, but they often take after historical designing and patterning, because people in history are smart and actually not idiots. Surprise, surprise, they were just as smart as us now, or dumb as us now, depending on how you look at it. And it all has to do with the way that the fabric is cut, the grain, the shaping of the pieces, the type of fabric, etc., and how it's constructed. So I'm gonna go into that whole rant. But the first part of it is, a lot of this, okay, so I've seen this video, not to shame this creator at all, but there was a video or short or something that was like, oh, this is my everyday corset, and then this is my tight lacing, this is for the Edwardian era, super high class corset. And the everyday corset was a lot less structured and had a lot less shape to it, and she claimed it was more comfortable, and maybe it's true for her, and then the other one was a lot more pre-shaped and such. And she said oh, this is a lot less comfortable. In my experience, and from what I have learned from many other historians, and my own research, is that is the opposite. What you will get on Amazon is usually something a lot flimsier, made with a lot less stiff material, and is actually going to be more shaped preemptively boxy, where a more comfortable and safe and actually well-made corset is actually going to have that shaping already put into it. The corset is made to fit the body, not the body to fit the corset. The corset is not here to come shape your body. It is supposed to support your body, and you shape it. That's a big part of wearing corsetry. It's called seasoning, which is basically breaking in, you break in shoes to fit your feet. Yeah, you do that with corsets too. That's a big part of it, where you will slowly wear it, you wear a little bit at a time, and then it slowly will break in and fit your body. Where you see dramatic waistlines and whatever in the Victorian era, and crazy proportions that you don't think are possibly real. Guess what? They're not. There's lots of videos on this. You can go check out Bernadette Banner. She's amazing. I love her. She does a whole video on this, but basically Victorians knew how to do fucking Photoshop. That's a thing they could have done. And also padding. A lot of the things, you saw I have that giant bustle on, right? To make my ass look great. Layering and padding were the keys. So they would literally put pads on their hips or in their chest, and it gives the illusion of making your waist look smaller in comparison. And so they're just not actually tight lacing. That's not it's a thing in terms of crazy Botox is a thing, right? So that's just my little angry rant about that. That's to say, a corset that has more preemptive shaping and structure and is not actually tubular in shape is going to be safer and more comfortable for you to wear. You still need to season it though, and it still needs to be well made. This is like a very thick canvasy material, which I really like. And I don't know if you can see from when I'm laying it out, like you can see how this is like, it's better if I lay it on a table. But you see how here, should have gotten sat on a table. This is hooping up, right? And over here, this is whatever. That's the pre-shaping. This is the part that goes over my hip. And this is the part that goes around my rib cage. My body is not tube shaped, right? Like I have dimensions, and even they're like, oh, I'm really box shaped. Every person has somewhat more dimension. We are not a cylinder. So this is supposed to contour to fit the shape of your body. And since the material is so stiff, it should be doing that. Again, of course, if it's you. Anyway, that's part of the rent. So another thing is the type of lacing. You see how this is laced into the middle? That's about weight distribution. You're not supposed to lace it like a shoe. You're supposed to lace it like the middle, because the weight distribution means that it's not all at the lower back, like, you know, at the back, the bottom of the back, which actually will put uneven pull on the different parts of the corset and potentially cause pain and, you know, problems. And if you can see here, there's a waist. I don't know if you can see here. This is a waist ribbon. It also is another part of that weight distribution system, is right at this level where that center pull is, and it's again there to take pressure off of the soft squishy bits and keep it from digging into you, as well as keeping the like corset protected, and again add to that weight distribution, so no part of the corset should be digging into you. So I'm giving all of this because this is like the very short form of the like much more detailed form rant that you can probably find across like other channels like Carolina she's Polish. Carolina, I'm not going to pronounce the long name because I'm going to butcher it, but I'll link them in the description below, and Bernadette Banner have really good rants on this. And I've also like worked in living history museums. I've worn corsets for full days. This is a thing I also have from personal experience. And so this is all to say, the reason I did that high brutality thing is like, one, bras are just inherently uncomfortable to me, especially as someone who's worn corsets. I wanted to do an historically accurate LARP, and I kind of wanted to prove both to myself and to whatever, like, that historical clothing is not cumbersome or uncomfortable. I can do things in a full bustle, in a full, like, Victorian, which is often thought to be the most restrictive clothing, just as well, if not better than I can in modern clothing. Now, my gimmick is not wearing a lot of clothes because I like that, but I also love historical clothing, and so I love to show the dichotomy of, like, clothing doesn't really affect me as much as you might think, and a lot of people would be, and that's opinions of people, whatever, but like this is more about like how historical clothing is not only, another part is wearing like layers underneath so you protect your skin. Not hard to do things in, like that's just kind of a myth, and restrictive. It can sometimes make things like this easier. Yeah. You can see here on my corset, it's very low bust, which is the design. Again, the waist is sitting at my natural waist, and it's going over my hips because it's getting support from there. And you can see, how this boning is contouring in all different directions because it's giving support. This is steel boning. It's beautiful. It's lovely. It's actually going to hold its structure for an extended period of time. There's also reproduction whalebone, which is nice, but it's kind of more expensive, I've noticed, and I don't mind the steels. Now, yes, I'm going to be going back and forth between like history or like corset ranting and the gun stuff, so just stick with me on this. This is a rant video. It's, as I like to call it, autistic history. And yes, I will probably do more in-depth videos on this, like explaining the details someday, but right now I'm just doing a combo because it was inspired by this. And so like, even in the long skirts, like like all corsets, not all long skirts are created equal. The thing I like to talk about with this stuff is, in history, people designed clothing for the functions that needed them. So that means that when you design a long skirt and you're going to wear it every day, you design it to be something that you can wear every day and do everyday activities in. Women were not just sitting around all day, they were working on farms, they were running around doing things. And so, I'm gonna get a Coke. All right, my mouth is getting dehydrated. And so one of the things about this is the structure of the skirts and many petticoats is to let friction do the job of basically the fabric rubs against each other and they kind of stick to each other, sticking out away from your legs and therefore giving you a free zone where your legs aren't getting tangled in things. They were designed like that. And then that's the construction or the way that you cut the fabric and the fabric itself. So not all fabrics are going to be the same like that, which is why they would often use more modern fabrics like linen, or not more, they would use more natural fabrics like linen, cotton, and wool, because they do that, where some polyesters and such won't. And so if you're doing like a silk where it's not going to do that as much because there's not as much friction because it's so smooth, they would wear petticoats underneath that would help do that and lift it off of the legs. And which is why I went for all linen in my outfit, not only to do that, but to give me a nice breathable layer that will not wick sweat. Wicking sweat is what a lot of modern workout clothes will do. And yes, it keeps you from feeling damp, and maybe that's the goal a lot of people want, but actually what I want when I'm in the desert is to stay cool. You know what sweat is? It's your body trying to cool yourself. You know what linen helps you do? Work with that. Linen does not wick sweat. It absorbs it. And basically what it's doing is it's keeping that there in a way that's comfortable to the body, but is not wicking all the sweat away from your body. It's actually kind of trapping it to keep you nice and cool within the linen itself, which I think is pretty cool. Anyway, I have a whole rant about this. This is why I was cooler than I was in my supposedly like synthetic, like useful outfits. I have so many fucking rants about how like, hey, maybe sometimes historical technology actually made sense because people had hundreds of years to figure it out, and we're not fucking idiots all the time. And it's more than just you can recreate this from an image. It's you have to have an inherent understanding of how all the pieces worked together, why the materials worked the way they do, like for the friction and the sweat, and why the like cuts of the way the fabric's cut, but it has to be with that fabric on a specific grain. Like all of these technologies worked together to create something that was actually useful. And if you try to reproduce it without knowing that, you could get the wrong idea, which is kind of what I'm trying to get at. Anyway, so I have my corset on now. And so these are all contributing ideas for like why I created the costume the way I did. And also why I was really comfortable. Like, again, it wasn't getting tangled in my legs. It was comfortable in the heat. It gave me sev coverage without sticking too much to my, like, it gave me sev coverage without feeling like I was being suffocated by layers because, again, it was keeping, basically I didn't feel anything touching my legs. It was light colored and like night feeling. So, you know, and a lot of people are like, oh, wasn't your torso warm? No, because I was wearing a linen underdress. And I was wearing linen on top of it. Like the corset is not that warm. It can be nice and warm if I want it to be, but again, like I would add like a wool layer or something if I wanted that. Wool is beautiful. Anyway, so now that I have it on, let's show you. See how low it goes on my hips? Again, that's all for support. Like the tightest it is right like kind of down here, but like I can take big, deep chest breaths and big, deep belly breaths comfortably. Not only that, I have full range of motion. Another thing about lacing up corsets is you can see it's not fully laced. It's even lacing, so like the gap in between all the way up and down should be even, and which is what I tried to do. Again, that's all about weight distribution. And this is broken in to fit my body. Again, like it's not tight laced. I have plenty of room. I can fit both my hands under here. I can fit my hand all the way down. Like if that angle was right, I could fit it all the way down the whole corset. But it's still comfortable and it gives me structure and it holds me up. And I feel more comfortable. And the nice thing is I can also put anything tight around my waist as I want, and I won't feel it because the structure is pretty hard. Like even the parts without the boning is hard enough that it's not going to hurt my waist, which is often a problem that I have when wearing belts, especially belts that have heavy things on them. So the next part so that's the whole like why my corset was good and safe. And also I've been used to wearing this all day and working out in it. That's another thing, building up, getting used to it and getting comfortable. The next thing is it really, really helped my shooting. So I learned something about shooting jackets or bondage jackets. They are these things that kind of are like a structured garment to hold your body really still and make sure that like all of the smushy bits in your body that aren't direct bone, like from here to here, are, you know, not moving around. And also, I think my theory is can help with breath control. Basically, it's kind of like a big stabilizer for your body. I wonder where I've seen that before. Also, can we talk about how cute this outfit is right now? I look like a ballerina. Here, let me do. Okay, this is a cute, I might just wear this outfit like today. It's so cute. Okay, anyway, now that I'm done looking at my outfit, let's go back up higher. Shooting jacket, yeah. So one of the things I noticed, at least with, I have to load this a little bit more, me, is my torso has ribs and then it has hips and there's this whole like gap here that wants to move around. I can sit into my corset a little bit, almost like you would a harness when you're rock climbing, and it stabilizes me. So like this entire part of my body, which I feel like is the most movable besides like the points with the joints, is now supported. And I've had a few other people mention this to me, like actually like 4 or 5 people asking me, hey, would corsets help someone shoot? Yeah. And I'll probably do a whole video where I test this like I do groups or whatever, but like I can say knowing from how I like just logically it makes sense to me and it would make sense for me for my problems, and it also felt easier to shoot in this. It's very similar to something that exists in the shooting world. It's also not digging something into my shoulder, which always really hurts, and I'm not fighting against, like when I have a tight shoulder strap here, I'm fighting against it to move my arms into the right position. I'm not doing that with this. I'm not fighting against anything. I can touch my toes. I mean, you can't exactly see that, but like, yeah, I'm not restricted in any way. That's just my normal hip restriction, right? Like, it doesn't cause any restriction that would be a problem at something like brutality, and gives me the benefits of extra stabilization and structure, as well as making it easier for me to carry a belt. Just saying, the gamer move is to go 1880s. No, but like, what I'm serious about is like, corsetry is something I think is really cool and important. I also have back issues, so it really helps when I have back pain because of my spine. Like back braces are basically just corsets. You know, and I really think that like the whole shooting jacket idea, it makes sense to me. It works, and like, again, this is not for everybody. Obviously, some people don't really hate tight things around their torso, which is totally fine. But for me, I really like it. I love the history of corsetry. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about it. But also just like, for the shooting world, it makes sense. And so there's this whole idea that I came up with when I had come up with this idea like a really long time ago, that is coming soon. I'm working on it with Ali, or AC Battlesack, who does the photography and helps run brutality matches. We're working on a project together, inspired by all of this, and you guys are gonna see it soon. I almost finished my prototype. I'm so fucking excited, guys. But before I continue into that, I'm gonna tell you the second part of what made that run really interesting to me. And this is the part I had not predicted at all. But I have actually talked to some gun historians about this. I talked to Carl about this after I did this, and I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. I'm interrupting the video to tell you really fast about my Patreon. Now, if you don't know, my channel is not monetized through YouTube and I don't do sponsorships. So this means that my only means of support for my channel is actually through my Patreon. There are multiple different levels with different types of extra content and perks that you can get, all starting at just $5. I would personally really appreciate if you joined it. I have trying to build a lovely community there, and I would love to see you there. If you are not a fan of monthly subscriptions or just don't really want to do Patreon, that's totally fine. You can always support my channel by liking my videos, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Other ways you can support my channel, of course, is through my P.O. box. I have a tactical gear wish list, as well as always being open to messages. I think I have an Amazon wish list somewhere too if you want to get me something off of that. This shirt was off of that, which is lovely. I'm also always open to messages. If it's like, hey, I want to get you something for cosplay. There's some cosplay makeup I've been wanting, or there's tons of stuff. You're always welcome to message me. I have tons of social medias, which will be on screen now. So thank you. And please enjoy the rest of the video. So these are my pockets. Another myth about historical clothing. Women didn't have pockets. Bull and shit. That is a more modern thing. These are fucking pockets. They're huge. They kind of look like vaginas, and I think they're hilarious. They're tie-on. So you would have slits in your skirts that you would have underneath these. And you would tie these around. Again, I can tie them really tightly around my waist. Now, I made these with a ribbon and some pillowcases, and I reinforced the inside of the fabric because when I was researching my pockets, these have been around since like medieval times, and they've been basically unchanged because they just work. I will wear them under skirts sometimes, like modern skirts, like these are just short enough. The thing about this is like a lot of them are structured, which makes sense. Like, so I put some interfacing in, which makes sense because one, it helps you hold things and it creates a little bit of a stronger hold, but also it helps conceal the shape of the pocket from bulging out underneath your skirts, sort of like a pocket protector. I also saw a lot of examples of leather pockets, and I was like, huh, that's very specific. Besides carrying money, what would one want to do with that? The other thing I was having trouble with is finding any evidence of how women used to carry guns concealed. I know they did it. Historians know they did it. I have asked a few people who are in the world and like historians and do whatever. I've asked Carl. And then I got into full costume or full historical recreation with all the correct things made the way with the materials, which is a big part of it. And I've done this for years. I've done historical clothing for years. I've worked in living history museums, dressed up in this, and I put this on and I put my hands in my pockets and I go, oh my God, of course there's not a specific garment. Like you go to pocket pistols for men and muff pistols where you carry it in the, like that's in the like muff that you fucking wrap around your hands. That's only for winter. But of course there's not a specific garment that we hear of for women carrying. And of course this is not like an easily made connection. I mean, it stumped me, but I didn't even make it after having thought about this for a year until I put the outfit on and like walked around and like put my phone in my pocket and shit. Like it's one of those things where you have to like, what's it called? I had a term I made up for it. Historical interpretation, recreation archaeology, which is like my idea of like, if you recreate historical settings, or in this case, outfits, and try to experience and understand the logic and the circumstances of the time, like for example, understanding that's why the skirt stuck away from your body because of friction, like understanding little things like that and how people did the things they did and why they did the things they did, you can make archaeological discoveries that you wouldn't have realized unless you had thought and experienced the way that they did. I think this is one of my favorite parts about doing like historical interpreting or recreating historical clothing and just recreating history and whatever, because you can make really interesting and novel realizations that kind of seem obvious once you figure them out. But yeah, I was like, of course there's no fucking specific garment or nor documentation or advertising of a specific like item for like I was looking for advertisements even like item for women to carry pistols. Like I was like, no, they had to, like, women carried pistols. This isn't like something that I'm accepting that they didn't. We know this. But of course there's no records of people writing in their diaries or whatever, because there was nothing extra or novel. It was something that had been around for hundreds of years. It's their fucking pockets. Not only can I, like, okay, now I'm thinking like, oh, you know, like a little muff pistol or derringer or whatever. Yes, that's very reasonable. But this is what I ended up doing. I had 2 leather holsters for this competition. I ended up ditching them very quickly, as I realized that not only were they hard to draw from bulky and also like not necessary for the competition, but just in general, like this is kind of when I realized it, not concealed, but they weren't comfortable. And like again, yeah, a woman could walk around with that, and we have evidence of that in history. But like, if I wanted to conceal something. Now, you know, you were thinking, okay, just a small derringer. Here's my single action army revolver. It is big, it's chunky, it's heavy. Even if it's the 9mm, it's like the size of my head, right? Like, this is a big thing. I did the entire brutality match after I removed the other holster with my pistols in my pockets. Not once did I have an issue with it. Not only does the entire pistol fit inside of my pocket with space, like with a shit ton of space, if I want to conceal the handle in it too, I can. And if I put a petticoat over this, you're not gonna fucking see it. That's the whole point of petticoats. I could carry a fucking pair of shoes in my other pocket. I also don't have the issue that I've noticed with a lot of carry like this, which is like, oh, the weight distribution. Like, yeah, the waistband is a little bit off, but like it's, one, I don't feel it. My pockets don't feel it. It's not causing an issue. I could put something way lighter on this side or nothing on this side and it wouldn't matter. I don't feel that I'm even carrying something on my hip. Like, because of the corset, I don't feel the weight of the pistol at all. I just feel that it's resting gently against my hip. I don't feel like I'm carrying anything heavier than I was before. It doesn't move around a lot. It has the trigger covered. It's not going to catch on anything. It can be concealed if I put my petticoats over. And how I was carrying it at Brutality, which is you could easily carry it like this at Brutality with your skirts over it, even with this hanging out of the open skirt. When you have those layers on front like I did with the red dress, which is like this extra top layer that kind of creates like this like pleated apron look, it would conceal this and still make it easily drawable without having this sticking out because it just is a flap that, like, it's a piece of pleated fabric that goes over it like this, right? There's so many, like, whatever, and I know where it is. I can feel it, right? Sorry, got it. And then when I want to go draw it, I just pull it out, right? Like, and I was carrying these and I was running around and I weren't falling out. And this is a way, the fucking pulling them out of the historically holsters for whatever. I had to grab the whole thing with my hand. It was a whole thing. It took like 5 seconds. Not only can I carry a Derringer, I can carry a full-size revolver in this thing. I could carry a big fucking Desert Eagle if I wanted to. So therefore, I have solved my personal historical competition carrying to make my outfit look cute, have the outfit be comfortable, and possibly, you know, this is a theory, but possibly historically accurately carry how women carried. I have run this by a few people, and they're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This is my own personal headcanon until I'm proven wrong. But also, I'm going to probably do more videos on this because I'm really excited. And I have a Derringer coming, so I want to try it with that. But, like, I can't believe I figured this out. I feel very smart. I love this. And I will probably do a video where I show you with the full outfit and show you how concealed they are. But yeah, I did this with both of them. I had no issues. I couldn't even tell that they were there besides the small, like, gentle weight against my hips. Yes, kitty. I also had so much fun doing it. Like, this took away a lot of the faff and the pain, as well as making something really. So yes, this is my argument that sometimes historical clothing is more tactical than modern tactical gear. Bye.